Hello and welcome. Today it's all about the deep sea adventure at Legoland California, which is the underwater ride, which is full of fish and lots of Lego models as well. Now, towards the end of the video, we'll have a look at the shop, which has had actually a very impressive pab wall. So you can see just how big the queue line would have been and how popular this ride will get. And obviously, you've got all the shade and everything because there's no trees around this area, so it's nice that they put the shade up if you obviously going to be stood up there for a good amount of time. It's always nice to have a little bit of shade over your head. But for me, because it was so quiet on the day that I was there, they just had the short queue line open. Now you go walk around, you zigzag around, you can get your photo taken as a group, as a family, in front of a model if you wanted to. There is a photographer there. That is something that they seem to do at every deep sea adventure. I'm not sure the reasoning behind it because it's the only land that they do it in, but there must be a method to the madness. Now obviously as it loops around and wraps around, you can see you've got all the big models up at the top, or the big sort of plastic injection molds at the top. Now this, compared to Billund, is a actual underwater ride, not a walk-through attraction. So they are different in different ones around the world. Now if I've got this correct, Legoland Windsor, Legoland Dubai and here all have the boats. Germany and Billund have a walk-through attraction. Now I think this is an underwater ride because they do have a sea life centre literally next door to the Legoland Park with its own separate entrance, which I do believe would actually just be a big walk-round attraction where they might add in the odd Lego model like they've done at Legoland Billund. But it's super easy, so you're allowed to film on this ride. You're just not allowed flash photography, obviously, because you are in basically a absolutely massive fish slash shark tank. There's lots and lots of different bits and pieces to have a look at. Now this one does tell a different story to the story that it tells over at Legoland Windsor, so they tell you to look for different bits and pieces. Some of them are called Atlantis. This is just called the Deep Sea Adventure. So you will see the differences on the outside, and you also see the differences on the theming as we go around as well. It's a very impressive thing to just go in and have a look and see everything. Depending on where you sit and depending on what side of the window you have a look at, you will see different models. So this is the time I need two cameras, so I can have one side, one the other, and do a split screen so you can see the whole ride. Or it is a ride you can get on twice, and just make sure you either sit on the opposite side or you sit at the back or at the front. Well, if you sit at the back at the front, you have got loads and loads of windows that wrap round, so you can see a lot of different bits and pieces. But again, you don't catch all of the Lego models because of how the boat goes round underneath the water. But there is lots and lots to see with regards to the fish. It is beautiful, lots and lots of bright colours, but obviously there's lots of big Lego models that we're going to be having a look at as well. And like I said, when we get to the shop, normally they just have a little shop. As you leave, they have a, within these areas, they do have like a how you look after the fish and how you look after the ocean, and also they do like an educational bit as well, which is really lovely. But they had a massive pub wall, which took me completely by surprise, and this was probably the fourth or fifth pick-a-brick wall that you could go to, and they had loads and loads of bits and pieces in, so we'll be taking a good look at that, and then you could obviously just scoop it all up into the cups that they had there at the time. Obviously it is all changing over to cardboard boxes, so it'd be interesting to see how that would work in a theme park environment, because if the box splits and it's in your bag, it's going to go absolutely everywhere. But with the cups, obviously they're a little bit more sturdy, especially if you're taking your bag on and off all the time and you're sort of bouncing around people, and the park is very busy. But you can see you've got all the models, you can see the screens reflecting on the actual glass, so there is a story if you want to watch the story, and it's interactive for the little ones, and there's lots of Lego bricks built in on the ground. And obviously the fish are real as well. But behind me, because I'm actually looking the opposite way, there are different things. So there are other bigger models, there's other bits and pieces, but the cool thing is the fish can go underneath and wrap round on here as well, and you kind of go from different zone to zone, so it tells you like a different story as you go, which is obviously a really nice thing to listen to if you wanted to. But you can see in the ground they have metal versions of brick, so you can see they've actually got the big studs on there, and then as it pans through, you've got the big Deep Sea Explorer. Now they have just re-released in the Lego City range a lot of the exploring boats, so it wouldn't surprise me if potentially they might start selling those at all of these shops as well, because at one point they were struggling for merch because they didn't have anything that went under the water. They weren't selling any boats at the time, and all the Atlantis sets, they had discontinued that line, so it was a very similar to another line that they kind of discontinued, and they kept all the shops and everything open. So hopefully that might start trickling back in, a bit like the Lego Castle bits and pieces, which is always nice to walk around and just see all the sets on display from that theme within its own theme, just like this. But yes, they are all massive Lego models. And again, you can see what I mean, depending on which bit you look out of. You look out the window, you look out this. There's another one to my right-hand side. You should catch everything on the right-hand side as well. And then there's another window that looks at everything that is completely on the right, directly in front of you. Lots and lots to take in. So there is a lot to soak in. But you can see this ride is one of those that just continuously keeps moving around. So you can see the other boat that is behind us, and it just keeps moving and moving and moving. This does get quite warm when it's obviously a very busy day, because you can imagine how many people that will get on this, because obviously they have to shut the water, they have to shut the door because it has to be watertight, obviously. But you again, if you don't mind that kind of thing, or you're dressed appropriately, you're not going to overheat, and you're not underwater for a huge amount of time either, and it doesn't feel that claustrophobic because you're looking out into all of this amazing life. It's not that bad at all. But hopefully, if you haven't seen this one before, it might have added something onto your list that you might want to try and go to. Now we are off and out, and we're just walking through what I thought was just going to be a little walk around and then into the shop. So this is what I thought it was. It's just they normally just have this here. I don't actually think they had any sort of fish educational stuff here, because I'm assuming that would all be at the Sea Life Centre instead. So they've just saved space and room. But they've added in all of these sets, which is nice to see, because again, they don't tend to add this volume of sets into everything. And also you can see they've added in every single set that is available for underwater. They've added in all the fish tank sets. They do it so well as regards to selling you different bits and pieces. There's just lots and lots of stuff to have a look at. You can see you've got all of the 3-in-1, but it's all the same theme. It's all water-based stuff, which is just nice. And then all of a sudden, I saw this, and this was a surprise, a massive pick-a-brick. You just had as much time as you wanted to, because if you think this is getting off the ride, if you don't know it's there, then you're not going to come specifically into this. So you have loads and loads of time just to soak it all in and grab all the elements that you wanted to grab. And you can see they have a large selection of the same type of thing in lots of different colors. So very, very handy to know that that is there. They've got lots of good elements as well. So I really did take my time on this to get it all in, because it's really difficult to film these normally, especially when you're in one of the big shops. You can imagine everybody's rushing to try and get it. But you can see there, look, buy 2 small cups for $20, but then you will have to add on the local tax on top of that. And that confuses me. I say that every single time. So I don't actually know what the total price of that would have been, but it's not too bad, I wouldn't imagine. But they are only small cups. But I don't know if 2 small cups relate to 1 large with regards to the amount that you can fit in. But I think in the UK, a large box now, I think, is $17.99. So it'd be interesting to see how that works. But you can see you've got all the different elements there if you wanted to make up houses and walls and things. You've got lots of tiles. Now, we have seen that in the Kingdom video, where they've done a really nice path behind the big castle. That did look very, very effective. And that is some of the colours that they also use. You've got these really nice blues. You've got the bright teals. And then you've got a good selection of all the different greys, reds, oranges, and everything like that. But again, just the amount of elements that they had here with regards to the colours in a very, very small shop. And like I said, this must have been at least the 3rd or 4th pab one I'd seen. And there was another one in the sort of more Lego City based area where they've got the Ferrari world, which is obviously really nice to look around. Then they had lots of different building areas around here as well, so in different sections, which is another nice thing that they're starting to do at all of the different Legoland parks around the world. They have got areas now that you can just go in and build, and they're adding more of those in. So you would have seen the Rebuild the World promo that they were doing at all the Legoland parks, kicking off sort of 2020, 2021, where you had the big areas where you just sat down and built in all the big bins. They then sort of overflowed that into some Ninjago themed bits and pieces. Then they've also overflowed that into a Duplo area. And now over at this theme park, they've actually done it as a space theme, and they've also done it as a dreams theme. And they've got big tables, big bins that you can just sit down, get out the sun, just rest your legs for a little bit, and then obviously you can have a bite to eat outside, and then you can just carry on. And I think that's very, very important that they're getting both elements mixed together. I'm just hoping that, again, Windsor, have not been there for a little while now, they're going to be doing that much more over this season coming, because I know they have added in the Ferrari world, which they do have over here as well, and that is a really good element of play and build and interactiveness as such. So let's hope that they carry on doing that around all of the Legoland parks around the world, and I will be getting to as many of them as I can over in the 2024 year. One of them is a definite. There is another one that I'm feeling fruity to travel that far. I will do, and I will try and get to some of the different shops located around the world as well. Now, apparently Australia have just opened up the world's largest Lego store. It's a long way to go for one store, but it might be an interesting flight. So that might be on the list as well at some point, but they don't have a Legoland park over there. I don't think they have any of the shops either. So this is it's their first main flagship store. Very, very interesting to see, but I might have to incorporate that into a different trip. But again, you've got these as well. I haven't seen these for a long, long time in a paddleboard. You've got the 4 studs rather than just the 2. And then you've got the smaller little base plates as well. Now, minifigures, you've got Series 24 and Series 18 all up on there. But again, I've said this in a couple of videos now, they did not have any of the current series out, which at the time of filming this was the Marvel line. But guys, that is it. I am done. That is a full tour of this ride and area of the Deep Sea Adventure at Legoland California. Now, in the comments below, let us know how this area compares to your local Legoland park, and obviously you can spot the differences with regards to how it is displayed at the front. Everything's different with regards to this one in the boat, because a lot of them are normally yellow and yellow with the subs, but this is obviously yellow, grey, and the deep blue underneath. They have started to retheme a lot of this to the darker blue artwork, which I think does look very, very good. But if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-da.